Good evening. Tonight we are going to discuss the bell and its place in Wiccan and pagan practice. Now, the bell is a commonly used tool in rituals or spells that use vibration or sound. These vibrations have long been known to have very powerful effects, and this property is often used by Wiccans and pagans alike by utilizing the bell. The bell is especially useful for those who are musical at heart, and it can be incorporated into most spells and rituals if you are so inclined. It also doesn't have to be used at all. If you are not a fan of the sound a bell makes, simply skip it and use something else, or skip the entire idea of using vibration and sound entirely. The bell is feminine in nature, and it is commonly used in Wiccan or pagan circles to call the goddess and the god. Sometimes it's used to call and dismiss the quarters, but the wand or the staff would be more preferred for this particular practice. The bell has also been used to ward off evil spirits in a variety of different traditions. The bell has been used to banish and repel evil for thousands of years by many, many different traditions. So it only makes sense that paganism would also employ its use for many of the same purposes, though there are some purposes that will be unique to your pagan practice that you don't see used in other traditions. Wiccans and pagans throughout many decades have used the bell to halt storms, to evoke good energy, to guard their homes, and to even repel unwanted influences. You should consider using the bell for many of the same purposes if that aligns with your practice. Now, what does your bell need to be made of? Whatever you like. So I brought out one of my smaller bells. It is made of metal, and it has been painted black and gold, but it is a silver bell. It's just been painted. So this is a silver bell. You can use metal. Now this one, very quiet. This is what I like. I also have a much larger crystal bell that I typically only use when there's a group, and I do less group practice these days than I used to. And some people enjoy glass bells. They make a really pretty sound. Mostly what you're looking for is something that you like the sound of. So listen, right? This one's very delicate, very light. So listen to the bell before you pick it. But you also have to like the way it looks. I like the way this one looks. I enjoy its particular patterns. You can see it's a little worn. I've had this for many, many, many years. It is not new. So you can see it's been around a bit, but I enjoy this, and I like the way it feels in my hand. It's easy to pick up, lightweight, easy to ring. I have the larger crystal bell that has a wooden handle, and it produces a stronger sound, a much louder sound, and it is obviously quite a bit heavier. It's about 4 times this size, and it is made of crystal, so it is quite a bit heavier than this little guy. Again, I use them primarily for when we have a group. You need a louder bell so that everyone can hear it. If I'm working by myself, the soft of this little guy is more than enough because only I need to hear it. So what you use is entirely dependent upon what will work best for you. So if you are interested in using the bell, first get yourself a cheap one. So this one was relatively inexpensive. I don't remember the exact cost. It was probably in the 90s that I got it, so it was not expensive. I would not have bought something in the 90s that was expensive for my practice. These days I have some expensive products, don't mistake me. But at the time, I would not have spent a lot of money, so I don't imagine this cost very much. I honestly can't remember. The crystal bell is part of a crystal set that came from my father's mother's side, and most of the crystal set had been broken. So I have a crystal chalice from my mother's side and a crystal bell from my father's side that I use. They were not designed as pagan pieces. You don't need to use something designed specifically as a pagan piece. You can simply find a bell that you enjoy. You can cleanse and consecrate it later. But you can use anything. This was not designed as a pagan bell either. I believe I got it, the 90s. There used to be a little store. There used to be a small store called Cricklewood. I'm not even sure if it was beyond our own city, but it was a small store in downtown, in the downtown of the city that I didn't live in. So I wasn't there all the time, and I just happened to see it, and I liked it. And I like the fact that I can add a bead onto its insides, because it, I don't want to pull it out, and you're not going to see it well on camera. But basically, it has a little wire hook that bangs back and forth, and you can thread a bead onto there if you want it to make a little more noise. So I liked this one. It was not designed as a pagan tool. You do not have to use something that was designed as a pagan tool. You can simply use something you already have. You might have a bell. Take a look, or maybe your mother or your grandmother is boxing up a bunch of stuff that's 30 years old and they're getting rid of it because they think no one wants it. See if there's a bell in there. There might be. Bells used to be incredibly common. These days, you're not as likely to find random bells for sale. People tend to buy a bell for a specific purpose, like for weddings and stuff. But once upon a time, having a bell in your home, sitting in your china cabinet, was normal. So see if someone in your family has one that they're not using. You might be able to use that, at least for a while. We do have some thunder going on. We're going to have to wrap quickly because it's going to start raining. But do check and see, because what you don't want to do is end up not being able to find something because you didn't ask. So see if your older relatives have a bell in their china cabinet that they're not using, that they're willing to let you borrow, just to see if you enjoy using a bell in your practice. If you do, you can then start the search for the perfect bell for you. Not everyone uses a bell, and I will admit, I rarely use mine these days. I got this one because I was much younger, and I thought, I'll experiment with using a bell, and then the crystal one was handed down from my father's side. I kind of wasn't handed down so much as I kidnapped it when my grandmother's crystal, the remaining pieces, there weren't very many, were about to be dispersed. I kind of just kidnapped it. I figured since they were going to the thrift store anyway, I might as well kidnap what I could. So it wasn't even handed down. My chalice from my other side was, but on my father's side, I kidnapped it. I'll admit, I kidnapped it many, many years ago. So find something you enjoy. If you are going to look for a bell that will be your permanent piece for practicing magic, if you really enjoy using a bell and you want something more permanent, take your time, because a good bell these days is hard to find. See if you can't get one locally, because locally you're able to pick it up and see if you like the sound it makes. Like this one makes kind of a raspy sound, which I enjoy. It doesn't make a clear ringing sound, and I enjoy that. I don't really like that clear ring. So find one you like the sound of. It's harder to do that if you're buying it online. Now, if you are going to buy it online, try to buy it from somewhere that has a decent return policy, because a decent return policy means if you pick it up and you go, no, then you can certainly return it. So do attempt to find something you like the sound of, especially if you're going to put down a chunk of money. But again, they can be quite inexpensive. Any bell that you enjoy the sound of and the feel of in your hand will work just fine. Thank you for joining us. Drop a comment below. Let me know if you use a bell in your practice, or if you've decided to skip it, or if you used to use one and have since retired it, like I mostly have. Blessed be.